Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we are joined by Mr. Parachute Pants himself, Dr. Pants, as we review Transformers Galaxies Issue 12. Netflix's War for Cybertron Earthrise released a motion poster, and Transformers BotBots are getting their own series for some reason. Today is Friday, January 8th, 2021, and this is episode 215 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that always either spills something or gets blaster holes in the new clothes we got for Christmas. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, Happy New Year.
Scott, the illustrious Dr. Pants.
Howdy, everyone.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hello. Happy New Year. Let's talk Transformers.
All right, as always, we start out the show by thanking our Donatrons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. Your support means the world to us and helps keep the show going. We got a new Donatron joined up this week. This is Trey, and Trey came in for a whole year, so they're committing to a whole year of transmission support. Thank you, Trey, and we really appreciate it and hope you enjoy all the perks. Another way to help with the show is buy merchandise from our TeePublic store, and that's at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. And you can check out our friend K-Girl store at teepublic.com/user/superstark. And we've got lots of cool shirts, masks, other stuff, all with the Transmissions logo. But if you buy anything from TeePublic through our link, that helps out the show and gives us a nice little kickback. So transmissionspodcast.com/shop. We had a Toy Hacks drawing in the Transmission show for December 2020. So congratulations to Richie, our winner for this month. Hope you enjoy that Toy Hacks $10 gift code. And it's another perk of being a Transmissions Donatron is you are automatically entered in that contest every month. We've also got coming up next week, early next week on Monday, we've got the uncut version of Empire of Rust episode 40, Indecision 3000. So this is exclusive to our Donatrons, and you can access it through our Patreon page. And this will be up this Monday, January 11th. All right, now let's get into some comics news. So first up, we've got another listing for IDW Transformers Collected Volume. So this is now the IDW Collection Phase 3, Volume 1. And you can pre-order this at Amazon. So Phase 3, I guess this starts with Revolution, the giant Transformers Hasbro crossover where we expanded the Transformers universe to become the Hasbro universe. In IDW Comics. So this is the kickoff of that series. So we've got Revolution 0 through 5, Transformers Till All Are One, Transformers Action Man, and Transformers More Than Meets the Eye Revolution one-shots. Then we've got Till All Are One, issues 5 through 8, and Revolutionaries issue 1 through 4. So all those books are going to be in this first volume of IDW Collection Phase 3, and this is supposed to be out this September 21st, 2021. And it's a hardcover, so check that out. So we reviewed all these comics back in the day, so if you go back into the Transmissions archives, you can hear all our thoughts on all these comics.
If only there was a way to search our site for the episode that had such a review. If you wanted to hear a review of a particular comic, you could search it on our site and say, oh, this is the episode where they reviewed this comic I wanted. That would be interesting, wouldn't it, Jeremy?
That would be very interesting. It's almost like it's a feature that's there.
I think
I was looking back to my OneNote that I use when I write my reviews, and the first one I wrote in here was RID number 31 back in July 2014.
Oh, wow. That's still in phase 2.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, this is interesting because this is a trend that's happening in comics. We've got a trailer for a comic. So IDW put up on YouTube this trailer for Transformers Escape. And so you can watch a YouTube video, basically, it's a little slideshow with some music. But if you're curious about Transformers Escape, the new miniseries that started just last month, the first issue came out last week, you can check out the little trailer. It's about as the war between the Autobots and Decepticons starts heating up, a lot of bots, and there's also some alien species living on Cybertron that need refuge and sanctuary. So the ARC program is going to be resurrected, and ARC ships are going to be constructed to get a lot of bots and other species off the planet before the war consumes everyone. So we'll probably be reviewing that in a little while, not on this episode, but coming up. But yeah, you can check out that trailer. Interesting idea for trailers for comics and novels, or also get trailers sometimes. So that's cool. We've also got some cover images. So Daryl actually got the cover B, which is by our friend of the show, Winston Chan. And Winston put up some images for the cover art, how he created the cover art for this process, going from the original pencils to inks to flats and then the final colors. So you can check that out. And, I think the image came out pretty well. So Daryl actually has this cover. So what do you think, Daryl?
I mean, I like it. That's why I bought it. It's a really cool cover, and we like Winston. He's a fun person, and we're really happy and proud of him to making the jump to doing professional work. And it's a great cover. I look forward to figuring out what all these ships are called and what the hell is going on in the book. I haven't actually read it yet.
Next up, we've also got the artwork from Anna Malkova for Transformers Escape issue 2, and this is cover B. So this is still this will probably be coming out at the end of January, but you can check out that cover art. Yeah, it looks like Die Atlas is coming into the picture here, if that cover can be believed. So next we've got this is from the blog of the author of the Transformers Back to the Future crossover, Kevin Scott. He put up a little blurb about the new Autobot they introduced in that comic, Skills, the skateboard, that Marty skateboard that transformed into a robot. That was a surprise for everyone, I think. Even as we were reviewing the comic, that was a surprise for us. And interesting enough, he does mention that the design for Skills that artist Juan Samu created was based on Grindor, the minicon from Transformers Armada. That's cool. And of course, they looked at the original skateboard design from Back to the Future and combined that with Grindor. And last bit of news for comics is we've got solicitations for March 2021. So we've got 3 issues coming out in March. Transformers number 29, Transformers Escape number 4. So that's finishing that miniseries. And then Beast Wars number 2. And as the Beast Wars miniseries continues, lots of good comics to look forward in March. All right, that's all the comics news. So let's move on to our comic review.
Okay, and we're talking about Transformers Galaxies number 12. This is the final issue of Galaxies. It is written by Brandon Easton, art by Andrew Griffith, colors by Josh Burcham, letters by Jake M. Wood, editors are David Marriott and Tom Waltz, assistant editor is Riley Farmer. There are 3 covers here. Cover A shows an armored Magnus that is seemingly going against everybody. This is by Andrew Griffith and Thomas Deere. Cover B has Magnus bursting through a bunch of ships. And this is by Nick Roach and Josh Burcham. And the retailer incentive has Sound Blaster, and I'm sure he's planning something, but to me it looked like he's like spinning some tunes. This is by Livio Ramondelli. So, Dr. Pants, let's start with you. Which one of these 3 do you like?
I got to go with the RI cover. I love Soundwave and Sound Blaster, and that Sound Blaster's been a big part of this has been awesome. And I think Livio did a really, really good job with just the way that cover looks. I love what's going on in the background, how it's kind of blurred, but you get these awesome streaks of color and lights there. And Sound Blaster himself just looks awesome. And I do love that, he's just standing at a table, but it could be like a DJ podium or something. And he could be spinning some tunes. Yeah. So that's a really cool cover, and I wish I could have gotten it.
Daryl, which one? I mean, we know, I guess, from trips to the store which one you got, but is that the one you prefer?
I mean, I probably could have gone with either A or B. I really like Andrew's work, and the colors by Thomas Deere were fantastic on that one. And my shop gave me the B cover of Nick's, with Nick and Josh's work, and frankly, I like it too. It's very good. If there's a lot of action, there's action in both A and B, and it's you actually see some war, or I guess damage being done in B. So I mean, that's kind of more to my liking, I guess. Yeah, I like it. They're both really great covers. I would say I probably like B a little bit more. That's it's a really cool looking cover. Nick's work is always really great, and that's probably the one I'm going to go with is B.
Cool. I thought you were talking both of those up and then saying how you really wish you could have gotten the RI because you really liked it better.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, A and B were almost a 50-50 split on mine. I might have probably given B 5% more just because it was a little bit harder edges.
Cool. All right, Charles, what about you?
So I think I'm going to pick cover A. So I like Andrew Griffith's art here. I just like the composition of that cover, and it shows off the Magnus armor, I think, a little bit better. And yeah, I mean, I like the idea of having even more armor on top of Ultra Magnus's armor. So yeah, looks cool.
Well, yeah, I think there wasn't really a bad cover this week. All 3 are great, but I would probably also go with A. I mean, it looks great. Andrew did the work on the inside of the book too. I like having it match. Especially when it's something so cool as this. All right, let's get into the story. This is Storm Horizon Part 3. Alpha Trion is in trouble, and his ship is being blasted and sucked into the Black Spear black hole at the same time. Chrome Dome aboard the Magnus's ship notes that there's also space-time issues, and Trion could already be inside the spear, for all they know. However, he uses the signal that Trion had used to contact them before and patched it into Magnus's armor to use as a tracking beacon. Magnus is able to make contact with Trion as he flies toward the ship in the armor, blasting the weapons of the attacking Quarian ships as he goes. Trion warns them not to destroy the ships. They're already upset with Cybertronians enough as it is. He reveals that Sound Blaster has altered the deal that they had with these aliens, and he had become consumed with the profits that he could get from selling the artifacts that they find. The native species were none too happy about that, which has led to this situation. When Magnus reaches Alpha Trion's ship, Sound Blaster doesn't want to free Trion from the deal that they had, and he fires a blast of sonic waves at the two. However, Magnus tosses a flashbang grenade, which distracts Sound Blaster and allows Magnus to activate the ship's emergency boosters and then blow an escape hole with his shoulder missiles and escape with Trion. Back on board the Fists of Iacon, the crew heads back towards Cybertron. However, Chrome Dome has bad news. The space-time distortions of the spear meant that they've returned 70 cycles after they left, and things are bad on the home front. Megatron has taken over the Senate, and Magnus tries to contact Omega Supreme, and he's unable to. They wonder if the Cybertron they were always defending is truly gone. However, Tryon says that the seeds of Cybertron's future lie in the relics of the past. 66 cycles earlier, Sound Blaster returns from the Black Sphere and apologizes to his master for his failure. Shockwave is upset. However, Sound Blaster has returned with enough materials to continue his work as he reveals a horde of Insecticon clones. So that's the ending, and it ties in nicely with where the ongoing is at the moment. I like the use of the time distortions, and at first I didn't even realize that Sound Blaster, I thought that was like a prequel part, but then I realized that it was just the distortion where he left and arrived so much earlier. So this was fun. Lots of action. I loved the Sound Blaster's weapons, how that was just depicted. I really enjoyed it. The art was fantastic, as expected with Josh and Andrew. Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Daryl, I guess let's start with you. You're the action guy. What was it up to your liking?
There was a lot of action. I did like the action. I was. It's been a while. I probably should have read 11 again before I read this one, because it started off and I was a little confused as to what was going on. Magnus started suiting up, and I immediately got all these kind of like music montage kind of like, what is it, Rambo or Schwarzenegger kind of moments from the 80s movies where they're suiting up and adding...
He's like tightening his headband.
Yeah, and throwing like a billion grenades on and, that kind of thing. And then you get the reveal of all the armor, and it looks great. And then he flies out and just starts like this one-man kind of army just destroying, or not really destroying, but disabling everything, right? And it's cool. I mean... This is where kind of reading 11 would have probably helped me quite a bit, because I completely forgot what the hell these other ships were and why they were in the in the zone. So he's out there, he's disabling everybody, and then he gets to Sound Blaster's ship and gets to Tryon. I had some issues, a little bit of issues with the art, in the fact that anytime he seemed to shoot a missile, it kind of looked like they were just like spaghetti coming from coming out of him. I know that's not what it was. It was supposed to be smoke or some kind of, trail of energy or something coming out of him, but it just seemed like it was too thick, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of seemed like a string of pasta coming out of his armor attached to a missile. So it looked weird. I did like the sound, like the on the flip side of that, I do really like the effects, like you said, with the weapons for Sound Blaster. The artist effects that Andrew had put on that were just fantastic. It really gave a sense of the sound that was being done, and
the vibration.
Yeah, exactly. So that was really great. I do really like the whole timey-wimey stuff. Anytime that there's seemingly some kind of time aspect, I get pulled right into that. And I don't know what it is, but that seems to be like a secret little thing to kind of get me involved in any kind of like story. If there's a time aspect and things and characters are out of touch or out of time, or they're pulled into different kind of time zone, or I'm in. So yeah. So this was kind of fun. Coming back and seeing, they're coming back to Cybertron, and they've been pulled into the future because of the time warp that they were in, and now they're shown that they're basically brought right up to the point in which we're at with the ongoing. So I fully expect the Ultra Magnus and Orion and all the cast of this ship to really be added to the ongoing at some point in the near future, which is good. It added more characters is a good thing, right? On the flip side of that, I fully expect Shockwave and Sound Blaster to be added as well. some dastardly sound shockwave stuff is never a bad thing either.
Well, Dr. Pants, what were your thoughts on the book?
Absolutely loved it. I've loved this Ultra Magnus Sound Blaster Alpha Trion story that's been going on. It's been a lot of cool action. The artwork has been absolutely fantastic. Like, I could talk about what you guys have already said, but it's all done really, really well. The only thing I will say is my favorite page is the 4 horizontal panels of Sound Blaster railing into Ultra Magnus with his sound cannon, and Magnus just like inching his way forward, armor breaking off, and he's just, I am persistent, I am valiant, and it just, it was so cheesy and so awesome as he brings up with the grenade and everything. It's so cool, and I'm really glad. I liked in More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light the Ultra Magnus we had with Minimus Ambus and everything. It was a cool take on the character, but it's really nice to now get warrior soldier Ultra Magnus, who is, you know, just a hardened warrior general kind of guy. And I like to see that. It's bombastic and awesome.
This seems like more like the original Magnus that we saw in the cartoon, but before he had reached that point.
Yeah, so I'm really, really digging that. And the other thing, I'm so happy that we get Victory Leo in here. A character who is like never in anything, like this cool Japanese only Transformer who shows up, and he is just the most hardened badass. I love the panel where he's screaming at Spinister, like, you want to talk to me in that tone of voice? I'll rip your freaking head off. Like, it's so cool. And now that they're back on Cybertron, I'm really hoping that Victory Leo sticks around, and that also gives me hope that maybe we'll see some Star Saber, especially since Escape has Die Atlas on the cover. It looks like they're really pulling in some deep Japanese cuts here, and I'm all for that. But this series was really cool, really actiony. It was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that they ended Galaxies like bringing it back to where the ongoing is, so it kind of ties in real nicely. But it was great, and Andrew did a great job with the art. I love all his stuff.
Awesome. So, Charles, let's finish up with you.
All right. Well, yeah, I definitely agree with everyone else. I think the art in this was awesome. It's always great to have Andrew Griffith and Josh Burcham back on the book. I love Andrew Griffith's art, and this lives up to that standard of quality. I really like the story. I think Brandon Easton did a great job. He has a great take on Ultra Magnus. I also like how we interviewed Brandon a few months ago since he wrote part of the Siege storyline for the Netflix show, and he mentioned how he had in his mind he had positioned this as kind of a prequel to that show, like the ongoing for the IDW comic is kind of a prequel to Siege, and he explicitly put some ties in there with mentioning of Tarnhauser Gate and that war in this story. So I think it's interesting how he tied that together, even if it's quote unquote unofficial. But I like this version of Ultra Magnus. It's nice to get a back to basics version of Ultra Magnus. I also like his relationship with Alpha Trion. How you see how much he respects him because he's a warrior, but he knows that like that old Yoda line from Star Wars, wars not make one great. Even if you're a great warrior, you have to be able to preserve something for peace. So I like that how he views Alpha Trion as a real mentor. Sound Blaster as a villain was cool. I'm curious to see if we'll get more Sound Blaster when they're pulled into the ongoing. Maybe this will tie into Escape too, because I won't get into it here, but I have read the first issue of Transformers Escape, and the Insecticons do feature in that. So maybe that's tying into that as well, and maybe we'll see Victory Leo and Die Atlas interacting in Transformers Escape. But yeah, overall, this was a nice end to the Transformers Galaxies. I wish they were continue this anthology. I like this idea of having 2 and 3 issue mini stories. So I hope they bring this back. Maybe they only want to have like 2 or 3 ongoing books at a time, which I can understand that. But I hope maybe when Escape finishes up, maybe they'll bring back Galaxies. So
right now they have the ongoing Escape. Beast Wars is about to start up, and then Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, 4 at a time. Well, yeah.
Hopefully when some of those wind down, maybe we can get some more Galaxies.
Well, Back to the Future was supposed to end in January, but it's a little bit delayed.
We're only halfway through.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, it does seem like the pace of things is picking up in the, between the ongoing this and this Escape, which we'll review in the future. So I'm looking forward to where it's going now. It seems like the long, drawn-out stuff might be ending. So that will be our review for this week.
All right, and we will move on to Transformers Media News.
All right, in media news this week, on TV and streaming, since we actually did have something that happened since we last did a media news segment, the Earthrise show came out. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that is up here in the TV and streaming stuff. We've got another motion poster that you can take a look at. That's kind of cool. There's a War for Cybertron Earthrise interview with Alex Bornstein. He's the music guy, did all the music. And Jeremy, you talked to him last year or earlier in the year with Siege. So
yeah, Charles and I talked to him.
Probably the same kind of interview, but if you want to read an interview, you can take a look at that. So that's cool. There's an anime soundtrack. The original anime soundtrack is available now, and you can take a look at that as well. This is completely different than Earthrise. So if you want something other than Earthrise, there's a Transformers BotBots animated comedy series in development at Boulder Media. So this is something we should talk to Epic about next week, because she is cuckoo for BotBots. So we're going to have to remember to ask her about this next week. But BotBots is getting its own animated series. So that's crazy. But yeah, that's cool. And we'll be on the lookout for that. Right on. And that's it for media news.
All right. I think we will finish up the show with a little bit of feedback. And we got a voicemail from friend of the show, John 4X Levengood.
Hi guys, John 4X Levengood here again. So let's insert obligatory hindsight is 2020 joke and continue on. So what my question is this time is, what is your personal favorite Transformers memory of 2020? And this I would encourage the listeners to write in about. For me, I have two. The first one, the most important one, is my wife for our anniversary got me the Transformers visual guidebook. I love that thing, and it's got a place of permanence on my coffee table, and I'm enjoying flipping through it every now and then. It was one of the most thoughtful gifts she's given me as far as Transformers-related items goes so far, bar none. And two is one for me personally. I was finally able to start collecting toys again this year, and I have two favorites I was able to finally pick up, and that's Skylinks Earthrise and Earthrise Optimus Prime. Both of them just have that Generation 1 feel to it that brings my nostalgia and my inner kid just giggly with joy. So what are your guys's? I mean, like I said, personal, not like big announcements or anything, but like personal to you. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you next time.
All right. Daryl, why don't we start with you?
Oh, sure. Why not? Well, first I want to say, John, leave asking the listeners to us. We'll do asking the listeners. Just because you call in or, record voicemails, every other week doesn't make you a host.
Maybe they'll listen to him.
They might actually. Yeah. So, listeners, tell us what your favorite memory of 2020 is, and we'll tell John. But to answer your question, John, it's hard to top for me. Hard to top being sent something for free from Hasbro. That was pretty cool. Really quite unexpected, and I'm gonna have to probably give it to that. But also for me, like purchasing wise, I also was able to buy like that Zeta 01 Studios Unicron, which I just think is just phenomenal. But yeah, I'm probably going to have to give it to the box, the mystery box, unexpected box from Hasbro that I got sent.
All right. Dr. Pants, do you have a favorite 2020 Transformers memory?
I could probably come up with one or two. It's been a year full of collecting, but one that pops into my head that's really recent is I talked about in Trips' store in the regular show that I won the TF Source, one of their 12 days giveaways. And honestly, that was a really, really cool thing because the holidays are actually not one of my favorite times of the year. So getting that really like helped bring up my spirits. Plus, it was a figure I really, really liked. So I won their the Fans Hobby Athena. And that was a really, really cool thing. And I just really, really like that figure. And the other one is, and well, Daryl may say it's sucking up, but this year I started guest hosting on your guys' show. And in all honesty,
boy.
I knew it. But it's honestly, it's been a lot of fun to pop up here once a month and talk Transformers with you guys, talk comics and toys and everything. And it's just been a really, really good time. I don't have too many friends who are really into it. So it's nice to have a place that I can pop in here and talk about it. So thanks, guys. You helped make 2020 not so terrible.
Yet.
Well, it's weird. None of us, I don't think any of us have yet to receive an invite to your show. It's so weird.
If you guys want to talk video games with us, you're more than welcome to anytime.
Video games. Are those Nintendos? Is that a Nintendos thing?
Yes. If you play the Nintendos, you're welcome to pop on and join us.
Don't invite Daryl.
Hey, I've been pretty good this year. I've been playing the Marvel's Avengers game, which it's got some opinions, and I bought the new Spider-Man game, which I'm almost done. So there you go. I bought new games this year. Fuck you.
All right, Jeremy, do you have a favorite Transformer 2020 memory?
I think I have a couple. One, and this, I forgot that this was 2020 at first because it's been so long ago, but I actually went to a convention in 2020. I went to C2E2 right before everything shut down, and I got to talk with Flame Toys, and that was fun. You know, actually getting to talk to them, and on the front end, they were like, "Do not talk about Windblade." I'm not talking about Windblade. And I'm like, okay. So that was fun. And then they had me on one of their live streams over the summer. So that was fun. In terms of figures and stuff, Earthrise Prime has been so great. That's such a good mold. Skylinks, I really like Skylink because it's like so big and chunky, and my kid has just been having so much fun with it. So watching him mess with a toy that I'm not really afraid of him messing with because it's so well made. It's been great, and he can actually do stuff and convert it a little bit and stuff, and that's been fun sharing it with him. And then I guess the last thing is just Gigawatt. I never thought we would get a transforming DeLorean, and they made a transformer out of the DeLorean. So that's probably, those are all my highlights.
You're welcome for that. I'm going to take credit until they tell me no.
Well, you should. It is all you, the reason that we got Gigawatt.
Well, Jeremy, you stole one of my favorite 2020 memories, also Gigawatt. Yeah, I mean, that's Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies. Combining Back to the Future with Transformers, something I never thought would happen. I thought that would only live in fans' imaginations, and the fact that they made an official toy of that, much like Ectotron from 2019. Although I think the Gigawatt figure is actually a much better figure in terms of transformation and everything. So it's just cool to have, such an iconic vehicle become a Transformer. Never thought that would happen. So, all my if I could go back in time and tell my 10-year-old self that, when you grow up, you're going to have a Transformer that turns into the Back to the Future car. And yeah, just blow my mind.
And your 10-year-old self is going to be like, you're still buying toys when you're that
old. Be like, but you're going to have to wait 50 years for it.
Yeah. And then you'll just show them a picture of the Unicron you're going to get. Be like, shut up, kid.
And the other highlight of 2020 for me was interviewing FJ DeSanto. I mean, just we did it twice, but I mean, just that first one, and just how such a awesome guy he is, and how much of a real like Transformers fan he is, and how he really wants to create something that's lasting for the Transformers franchise, and honors the old stuff while bringing a lot of new stuff. It was just cool getting to talk to someone who has so much passion, who actually is in charge of putting some Transformers media together, and it's just fun interacting with him. I mean, he's very active on Facebook, so it's fun just chatting with him, and having him come on the show. So that's my highlight. That's
been a lot of fun.
I would have sworn one of yours would have been interviewing Simon Furman, but I mean, I'm surprised it's not.
Oh man, I forgot. I could.
Crazy! You were going nuts during that interview.
No, you're absolutely right, Daryl. That it just slipped my mind, but yeah, let's put that on the list to put interviewing Simon Furman. We've been doing this show for almost for 7.5 years now, and that was on top of my list, is to get to talk to Simon Furman for a long time. Yeah. So yeah, that was, and the fact that he listens to our show and listened to all our reviews of his comic, that was a big highlight for me. So. Yeah, Simon Furman. He's like if there's a Transformers Mount Rushmore, him and Bob Budiansky are up there. Definitely. Thank you for reminding me, Daryl.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
All right, well, John, I hope our answers were satisfactory, and we will pass your message on to the listeners to also contribute some of their highlights from Transformers highlights from 2020. So send them in and we will relay them back to John. And I think that will do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. And again, we got to give a shout out to John 4X11 Good. He's our Masterpiece Donatron, and we give a shout out to all our Masterpiece Donatrons. He's our one and only at the moment. So thank you, John, for continuing to support the show and sending in awesome questions as voicemails. We really enjoy responding to your feedback. And before we get out of here, of course, let's find out where you can access all of Dr. Pants' stuff online and on Nerdstradamus.
So you can find links to everything at nerdstradamus.com, but our main source of, or our main fountain of entertainment is on the Nerdstradamus page on YouTube, so you can find us there. We post all kinds of videos about gaming and whatnot and other nerdy things, but it's mostly gaming. We're on all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that. We are Nerdstradamus everywhere except for Twitter, where we're Nerdstradamus DL. We do have a podcast that comes out monthly. Our newest one, if it's not out now, should be out soon, where me and my 4 other co-hosts talk about our favorite video games that we played in 2020. That podcast is monthly. You can find it on all the podcast services. And also check us out on Friday on YouTube, where we do a lot of live stream gaming. So there's all that.
Very cool. All right, everyone. That will do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Later.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Is Mike editing this week?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hooray for Mike.
Okay, good.
Happy days are here again.
Praise Mike.